So I want to talk about my new car that I got. I got it through a website called Carvana, Carvana.com. You may have seen the advertisements for it. I didn't know people. Now, I didn't know about this. My brother told me about this. I hadn't seen any ads for it, but then I was telling people about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I've seen the ads. The vending machine, the car vending machine. That's what it's known as, right? Because they have multiple locations across the U.S. where it's literally a giant vending machine with a bunch of cars in it, and you basically pick one and it comes out of the vending machine. And I didn't do that. They don't have one of those around here. But their biggest thing is you go to Carvana.com, you make an account, they do a soft credit check, doesn't affect your credit score, and they say, okay, and they're straight up with you. They say, okay, here's what your interest is going to look like. Here's tens of, thousands and thousands of car options, and here's what you're going to be paying a month for each one of these. Like, just literally straight up, here's what you're going to be paying a month, and here's your minimum down payment we're expecting from you. So I looked for a while. I didn't know anything about cars before getting a car through Carvana. Like, I didn't care about what make or model or anything. I was just like, when I went to pick my first car, my brother just took me to a Hyundai dealership, and he was like, well, because I was gonna go to a dealership anyway. He's like, well, why don't I go with you? They usually try to up the price on you. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Come on, let's go. So we go to the Hyundai dealership, and he's like, so what kind of car are you looking for? And I was like, something used. I gave him my price range, and I was like, maybe something a little sporty. It's my first car. I like, he goes, oh, let's see what we can do. And he goes, I found a perfect car for you. Now, here's the first thing that a car dealer would do, that the car dealer would do to you that's fucked up. He will take you out to the car first before he says anything about a price. He'll take you out to the car and go, check it out. Check it out. So you can sit in it. You can take it for a test drive. And the car he picked for me was the car I got. That black Hyundai Elantra Coupe that you saw in the last podcast that I showed the picture of the damages of. That's the car that he picked. And I was like, yeah, that's the one I want. That's the one. And then we went back inside, and then he goes, okay, well, I know you said you were looking for payments around this range, but here's what your payments are going to look like. And I was like, and I look over to my brother, and I'm like, like, all right, like, what do you think about this? He's raising the price. I didn't say this exactly, but I looked at him like, what do you think about this? And my brother, he said, I don't know, can you afford it? That's why I brought you here with me. I thought you were here to help me out. I thought you were here to help me talk him down. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to talk. What do I say? Can you just... Well, that's more than I said. Can you just lower it a little bit? Like, what? Was he just going to be, oh, yeah, sure. Is that how you talk? I don't know. How do you do that? How do people do that? Recently I watched a whole video on how dealers actually fuck you over and how they make a shit ton of money from your dumb ass just being like, yeah, I'll take it. Anyway, that guy played me. And you know what's funny is I saw him too. I saw him at my job, and I served him recently. The dude that sold me the car, I was like, hey, you look familiar. And I was like, did you used to work at Hyundai in Northampton? He's like, yeah, I work at Mercedes-Benz now. I was like, oh, moving up. And then he was kind of like looking at me like, man, my food's, and he was like, well, if you ever need a Mercedes, let me know. And I was like, nope, I just got a new car from Carvana. I didn't say that to him, but I was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm never letting you screw my ass over again like that, dude. Anyway, but so I looked, and Honda just stood out to me. I looked at Mazdas, I looked at other Hyundais, I didn't look at Toyota. I could care less for Toyota. I don't care about Ford. And I developed these opinions as I'm looking through cars. Like, I had no idea about anything before Carvana and searching for cars, but I developed these opinions. I don't care about fuck Toyota. I don't care about Ford. I was looking at Mazda, looking at Honda. Forget about Hyundai. I was looking at Hyundai for a little bit, but now forget about it. Subaru, definitely Subaru I was looking at because all their cars are all-wheel drive, and that's amazing. But Honda just, I don't know. Hondas are everywhere, dude. Like, and there's people with Hondas from like freaking 90s still driving them around, and this 2020. It sounds like a submarine. And it's still running, dude. That shit's at like, there's people with Hondas at like 400,000 miles. Those things last forever. I mean, obviously, as long as you take care of them, as long as you don't fall asleep at the wheel and crash into the side of the road. That's what I did. Yeah. So I was looking at this. It came down to two different Hondas. There was a Honda sedan, which is the Honda Civic, as you know. Such a typical car. Wow, just the Crystalia thing. I hope nobody's going to get that. And I do that. I've been doing that in real life where I'm like, it's so stupid. If you watch Crystalia, you'll get it. But if not, you're just like, what, is he like having a seizure? Is he like twitching? Anyway, yeah, so it came down to two cars. Came down to the Civic, such a typical car. I was like, I was straying away from it, but it was a 2015, so only 5 years old. It only had 40,000 miles on it, which is less than the average amount of miles that they say you should get a used car for. And then my other option was a Honda HR-V, which I absolutely fell in love with as soon as I started looking at all the details and all the features and push to start and sunroof. And it's not a sedan, but it's a, what do they call it? A subcompact SUV. It's a subcompact SUV. So it's not full SUV size, a little bit smaller. Just a little bit smaller. The Honda CR-V is like their main SUV car that they're everywhere, all over the road. And again, one's from like 2000s. I remember I seen a car. I was like, what kind of car is that? I was like, that's a Honda CR-V right in front of me. What year is that from? Fucking 1999, bro. Anyway, so and I was questioning whether I should get it because it had kind of a lot of miles on it. It had 78,000 miles on it. And, you know, they say typically cars last to 200,000 miles, you know, whatever. Obviously, depending on how you treat it, it could go higher or lower. And I was like, this car's already at 70,000 miles. Like, how do I know that the dude, that owned this car before me took care of it, you know? How do I know how he drove it? And you don't. You don't. But that's what's cool about Carvana is when you pick a car and you make your down payment, they, first of all, deliver the car to you, and then you can test drive it and whatnot. And if you still like it, you keep it, and you keep it for 7 days. You have the first 7 days to be like, hey, you know what? I want to trade this out, pick a different one. You get a refund for your down payment, and you pick a different car. And that's what's amazing about it. But you know what? I didn't even have to do that. I went all out. I was like, you know what? I love this Honda HR-V. I'm going to give it a chance. I know it's kind of got a lot of miles on it. I'm going to see how it rides. I'm going to see how it, what kind of condition it's in. So I got it. The dude, I can't tell you how hype I was for this car. I mean, I was waiting for days thinking about this. I was like, yeah, I finally get to have a car again. Just because I had to ask people for rides all the time and, borrowing my parents' cars, and then my parents had to borrow each other's cars because I was borrowing one of theirs, and it was a whole thing, and it was just like, I just want to have my own car again, So I got it. The morning of, the dude calls me. He says, hey, so, because they're supposed to deliver it to you on like a tow truck or whatever they call it. It's like a big Carvana truck. And they deliver it to you, and they drop the car off. And the dude said, hey, so the truck is down. Can I just drive the car to you? I was like, well, what happens if I say no? What are you going to do? How are you going to get the car to me? You promised me you'd deliver the car to me today. If I said no, you couldn't drive the car to me yourself, how would you get it here? Luckily, that wasn't a problem. I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't care. Yeah, drive it to me. So he drove it, and then, it was two guys. One guy was clearly new. Well, also because he straight up said it, but because I asked the question, and then the dude was like, You might want to ask him for that because I don't know the answer to that. And the other dude was like super knowledgeable, super nice. They were super nice guys. And they let me test drive it around the block, you know, and then I had to sign a couple other papers, and then that's it. You're done. Like literally, you do 90% of it online. And what's great is like they register the vehicle, they get you the plates, they do everything for you. All you have to do is pay them. That's it. You pay the guys, they give you a car. That should be Carvana's slogan. Pay the guys, you get a car. That should literally be their slogan though. Carvana, pay the dudes, get a car. Carvana, pay the guys, get a ride. That sounds weird. Carvana, pay the price, get a nice ride. No, that didn't work. Carvana. What is that? What is their slogan? Hold on. Carvana slogan. I said slogan because car buying shouldn't suck. Oh, that's good. Carvana. I should be their spokesman. Carvana. Because car buying shouldn't suck. That's good. That's good. But anyway, yeah, if you're considering financing a car, which means you make a down payment and you pay monthly for it for a number of years, Carvana, definitely check it out. And they, you know, and if you have like a terrible credit score too, and like most dealers won't accept you, Carvana will accept you. Yes, of course you have a high interest, but Carvana does accept everybody, no matter what, how new or how bad your credit is. I mean, obviously the downfall is you can't negotiate, but as I told you from my experience with my brother taking me to negotiate with the dealer, it didn't work. So that's great. Yeah, I posted pictures of it online. You can see it on my Instagram if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I don't ever have to take my key out of my pocket. I walk up to the door, put my hand on the handle, it unlocks. Boop, open the door. Then when I get out, boop, close the door, hit the button. And I just recently found out it won't let me lock my keys in my car. Now, it wouldn't matter anyway because if your keys are near the car, your car's going to unlock for you anyway. But what's really cool is if your keys are in the car, because they've like fallen out of my pocket, like right next to my seat, and then I'll get out and then I'll hit the button and it won't make the noise like it locks. And I'm like, what? I was like, what the hell? Why isn't it working? And I was like, oh, wait a minute. My key is in the car still. That's amazing. Anyway, did I say it's a 2016 Honda HR-V? It is blue, as you know, my favorite color, blue. The color of the show, the color of my headphones.